Alright, look, this is exactly how you're gonna start making fuck you money content operating directly after this video. Real quick, if you think this is just another make money online buzzword, trust me, I know exactly how you feel. Because I've already tried and failed all the business models you see online up to this point. Crypto, dropshipping, SMMA, WAP clipping, and even YouTube automation. I'll never stop hating on that bullshit because it doesn't actually work in the long run and they're oversaturated anyways. But here's the difference with content operating. It's actually a service that's super high in demand because every business owner, influencer, and creator needs content on Instagram to actually survive and grow their business. Not content that goes viral and just gets empty views, but content that actually converts into revenue for the creator or business owner. And when you know how to do that, people will happily pay you as an expert $5 to $10K per month to make sure their content system always produces the best results. I'm currently doing this with big clients like Nathan Nazareth and Dan Bilzerian, consistently making $25,000 to $30,000 every single month, who I landed by sliding into their DMs after I figured this out. And unlike some gurus out there, I'm not teaching you the shit that I learned 3 years ago. I'm telling you what actually works right now because I'm actively doing it for my own content operating business. Like, no joke, I have all of this documented. I have real world proof from living in a freezing mountain village with my grandma in Bulgaria to moving to LA, buying my dream car, getting my dream girl, you know, all that sort of thing. Look, if you got the balls to actually do the work, this will change everything for you. Let's think about things fundamentally. It doesn't take a genius to realize if you want to make money online, well, you should probably make content, right? But here's where people get it wrong. They become a glorified video editor working for 15 hours per day and charging on their output, which is, by the way, the definition of a commodity. Problem with being a commodity is that clients don't pay you well because anyone can go hire an Indian video editor for $4 an hour. But what clients can't get is added revenue to their business, you know, what they actually care about. Video editors have no leverage. They optimize for output. I'll give you 30 videos a month, you pay me $500. But content operators get paid a minimum of $5,000 to $10,000 per month because they actually charge on the end result, which is, by the way, what the clients, once again, actually start their social media business for, to make more money. And as soon as you learn about the super client concept, you won't need to go and find average client after average client to go and make videos for. Instead, you can get the best of the best and actually get paid a premium because of your authority. As a content operator, you build social proof, and then you set up a content system to actually consistently drive revenue. So you're going above and beyond, which, by the way, is getting more leverage and at the same time getting paid in proportion to the value you provide for clients and businesses. Because let me just ask you, would you rather have 10 clients paying you $1,000 each, or would you rather have one client paying you 10K, right? It's a no-brainer. It's 10 times less work for the same amount of pay. So proportionally, it's actually easier because you don't have to juggle 100 calls at once. You have one client, one system, one content format, and you can focus on getting the best results and scale exponentially. The super client respects you, they don't waste your time, and they actually pay you what you're worth in the long run. So you aren't a headless chicken chasing new client to clip for, new client to clip for. You're creating a content system set in time, and you're working with a client for years on end. This is exactly my relationship with Nathan Nazareth. I became his content operator, and for the last 2 years, we've literally been hanging out, traveling to countries like Australia and Turkey, making money, but also just enjoying our lives. But how do we actually do this? Well, it's simple. You just pick a niche. Look, trying to become a content operator for everyone is like a brain surgeon going and helping with dental care. It just doesn't work. You need to niche down and become an expert in your industry. You need to choose a specific niche because how are you going to create content that actually converts if you don't understand the audience you're making the videos for? A content operator optimizes for 3 styles of video. 1, the video must be either inspirational, 2, the video must be relatable, or 3, the video must be educational. These 3 aspects actually drive purchasing behavior, and once again, the only way you can do this is by understanding the target audience pain points by niching down in a specific industry. When you know your client's niche deeply, you become irreplaceable because once again, video editors don't do that. They just go and make videos like a monkey, and that's why they're a commodity. But content operators understand why the video needs to be made for who it's actually made, and how can we target that person to actually entice him to go and purchase from our client. In order to pick your niche, you need to make sure it's actually an industry that's growing. It can't just be a trend that's getting all the hype today but dies out tomorrow. It needs to be something that is consistently in demand and is growing. For example, e-commerce, or fitness, or beauty, or dating, or literally anything that's going to be around tomorrow and that you can actually consistently content operate in. There also needs to be a specific target audience, because remember, the brain surgeon that does dental care, if you sell to everybody, you sell to nobody. So you need to actually know who is the target audience, what are their demographics, how old are they male or female, how can I actually target them with my content, and then on top of that, you need to make sure that your client is actually selling a product or service in the first place. Typically, what I try to focus on is digital products or services, because then there is an easier ROI to measure with the content, because there's no shipping, nothing like that, but it's not a must, it's just a word of advice from a fellow content operator. It kind of works like this. I go and pick a niche to content operate in. After that, I understand my target audience, how I can actually get views that aren't empty motivation, but actually convert into sales for my client. I then make those videos, and then the client pays me a proportion of the revenue that I generate from my content, on top of a monthly retainer of between $3,000 to $10,000 for actually setting up the content system and automating the entire process to make sure everything is smooth and there's no issues along the way. So once you've locked in your niche, now it's time to actually go and land a super client. But I'm gonna be honest, 99% of people won't ever land a super client. They'll land someone that pays them $1,000, $2,000 a month and then just ditches them in 30 days because they don't understand how to outreach properly while maintaining authority and actually raising your perceived value. Here's what not to do: the shotgun approach. Going and DMing clients as many as you can, as many times per day, thinking, oh, well, Emil, through volume, I'll just land a client, I'll negate luck. But here's the problem. This isn't the gym. It's not like I'll just go and lift weights and eventually I'll get strong. This is a competition. It's not you versus you, it's you versus every other content operator trying to land your client. So when you go slide in the DMs of your client and it's a generic message, everyone knows it's bullshit, you know it's not gonna work, your client knows it's not gonna work, you're just gonna either get blocked, reported, or, in most cases, you'll never get a response and you're just wasting your time. I've seen beginners send hundreds of follow-up messages to a single client, thinking they can eventually land them through persistence. But the problem is, you just look desperate. If you ask out a girl and she says no or doesn't respond, if you keep asking her out, it's just gonna make you look worse and worse and worse. It's the same thing with business. These clients need to respect you, because at the end of the day, you're not a huge company like Apple. They're not buying your service, they're buying into you as a content operator and your reputation. So forget whatever bullshit you've heard online about volume. You can't go about landing a client as a shotgun because there's just too much competition. You instead need to transition into the sniper approach. We're going to snipe out the ideal client by actually learning what his niche is, watching his content, analyzing him, and then hitting him with a insane message that goes above and beyond to show him, hey, look, we're not here to waste your time. We're actually going to provide value in proportion to building up our own authority on our Instagram page, so we actually look like a professional. Because let me ask you, pretend you're a client, would you rather take a content operator that looks like me, or someone that has no profile picture and no bio telling you he can 10x your revenue? It's pretty obvious. Your Instagram is your online resume. It's within your best interest to actually optimize it so you look like a credible professional that people can trust and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on over the course of years, and trust you're not gonna go bullshit them or waste their time. You need at least 9 high quality posts on your page so that when a client looks at your profile through his mobile device, there's no cutoff, all the boxes are filled with a bio that doesn't position you as a general service provider, but an expert in the niche you want to content operate in. Once you look like, a real person, now you're finally ready to actually go and hit up clients to land that super client like we talked about. This is the exact DM framework I follow. The first line should be a specific compliment about their business or content. It needs to be hyper specific to show you've actually done your research, you did a deep dive on their personal brand, and not some generic bullshit like, hey man, man, I love your videos. Line 2 should be a gap you've identified. Maybe they're not doing the best content because they're posting general stuff just to get views, and they're not actually talking about the product or service they're selling. They're not educating, they're not being relatable or inspirational. The third line should be your unique solution. How can you help them as a content operator, followed by your social proof or credibility. So you can list past results or achievements, but if you don't have any and you're starting from scratch, don't worry, just spend more of the focus on building up your Instagram page so you have more social proof. And this doesn't mean you need thousands of followers, because take one of my mentees for example. This is Jack. He only has 100 followers and landed a super client that pays him thousands of dollars per month because he actually looks like a professional that knows what he's doing. Or Christian, who's making $80,000 per month as a content operator from Europe. Or Ilias, who's making $20,000 per month all the way from Germany simply by optimizing his Instagram page and looking like someone who can be trusted to run a content system for a super client. I would also go above and beyond, create them a script for their next video, edit a piece of content from their YouTube channel or their Instagram page, and actually show them you're willing to put in the work without getting paid to prove you can provide value before asking for the big bucks. Once you've done that, it's super simple. You've already killed half of your competition who are sending the generic shotgun messages, because you're showing, hey look, I'm not scared to get down and dirty. I'm actually going to go and over deliver for you. And that is how you create a win-win scenario. The more money your client makes, well, the more he has to now pay you as his main right-hand man. This is why content operating is just getting bigger and bigger, and why business models like WAP clipping suck, because you never work directly with the client and you're optimizing for the wrong metric. You're just getting them empty views. But hey look, if these views are filled with 16-year-old kids that don't have money to actually go and buy from their business, well, the creator, influencer, business owner doesn't really gain too much from that, and eventually they'll just fire you. Once you have all of that down, it's time to systemize the process so you can always deliver high-end results in a streamlined approach. I use this AI hook generator that I've customly trained over the last few months to make sure you always get the best hooks that scroll stop your audience, on top of this organizational Notion document to make sure that everything is nice and tidy and we're always getting videos uploaded on time. On top of that, when it's time to scale, I simply hire a video editor to go and edit the content for me, and I manage the entire process as an operator, which once again is the whole definition of content operator. You're not editing yourself like a commodity, you're managing the process because your client doesn't have time. He's actually gonna go work on the businesses and record the content. Like, do you really think Elon Musk is sitting there making his own Tesla commercials, or do you think he's just hiring the best content operator out there, paying him $500 an hour, and then making sure that he goes and does everything properly? That's how business works. You can't do everything yourself, you have to delegate, and that's why content operators are the most in-demand skill and service provider right now in 2025. You always focus on quality first, and then you try and scale, because we need to habitualize before we optimize. We can't just post generic slop and eventually expect, oh, through volume, I'll go and make this the best content ever. It's not how it works. You have to singularly focus on making sure it actually drives conversions, measure that, and then go and scale. So nail that down and work deeply with one super client before you go and hire editors and expand more super clients into your content operating business. I crushed it with Nathan, and then I got Dan Bilzerian, and then I got Andy starring, and then I started making 20 to 30K per month. But before then, I was at 10K getting all the testimonials, all the results. So now when Dan asked me, hey Emil, what have you been doing as a content operator? I had proof to show him. You don't walk into the gym and lift 100 pounds your very first time. You start off with 40, and then 50, and then 60, and you work your way up. But eventually, you have all the social proof and reputation in the world. And that only happens when you lock in a super client. You can't go and do this with random average client after average clients, because it just doesn't work that way. By now, you already know content operating is a legit business and not just some online buzzword like WAP clipping or simply making videos on YouTube for YouTube automation. You're operating the marketing side of a business owner and making sure, it actually makes money, what people care about, not just getting empty views. And that's it. There's no need to overcomplicate things. It's how I'm able to pretty much work a couple hours a day because I have the entire process systemized. I only have 2 to 3 clients, and I'm not running around having to take 100 phone calls like the average SMA agency owner. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My goal is to provide as much free value as possible, and if you want a full hour-long free course, step-by-step on how to become a content operator as a complete beginner, I'll go ahead and link that video down below in the description of this YouTube channel. So go check that out, leave a like on this video, and I'll see you next week. Peace.